My name is Miguel Paredes, and I'll be talking a little about the work we're doing around AI and Gen AI at Albertsons. And my intention is to just leave you guys with some ideas. This will not be a technical talk, it'll be more conceptual. I'll talk a little some of the technical things we're doing. I'll tell a little bit of a story. How many of you guys were here 30 minutes ago in this room and have stayed here? Okay, yeah, so I was here, I came in, saw so many people, I'm like, wow, great. And then it was like, oh yeah, it's the LLM people in Google. That's why everyone was here. I got excited though. So hopefully I won't bore you guys. So this is the team, part of my team that's working on a lot of the things I'll be talking about today. A really cool team we have at Albertsons. Second guy there, senior director, PhD in AI from Berkeley. The other two PhDs from Carnegie Mellon. And I was fortunate to do my PhD at MIT. And we've been working on AI and machine learning and data science stuff at Albertsons for the last 3 years probably, catching up, legacy company, legacy industry, but a ton of data around what people are buying, when they're buying, what they like, et cetera. Albertsons, a national retailer with a very large customer base, 76 billion in revenue per year, 34 million transactions. Our customers visit us every week. 2,200 stores, out of those 1,800 pharmacies within the stores, and maybe you guys, if you guys have been following the news, Kroger, which is twice our size in the grocery and pharmacy businesses, we're going through a merger. It hasn't been approved yet, but if it were to be approved, it'll be a $200 billion revenue per year company, 4,000 or 5,000 stores, so massive. So the opportunity for learning from that data and serving customers is huge. What is our purpose? To bring people together around the joys of food and to inspire well-being. I joined Albertsons about 2 years ago after working for a large conglomerate owned by a billionaire family, and I was doing machine learning data science in 10 different industries. And I never thought I was going to work for a grocery company and do machine learning there until I learned a little about the purpose, I learned a little about the vision that leadership had, and I learned a little about the data that grocery companies have, and retail companies in general, and how rich it is in terms of our customers and what we can learn from that. So we've been really trying to figure out how do we use machine learning and data science to better serve our customers who we want to be able to help them around meals and eating and buying. People have constraints, people have preferences, people need to go and buy. Sometimes shopping can be a pain. How many of you guys only shop online? Don't go into a store to shop. Groceries, I mean. Okay. How many of you guys still go into a grocery store and buy? Yeah, I'm the same way. I never buy online. I don't know why. Probably because I'm old. But I do use the app. I check out the app, see if there's any discounts. I actually am pretty obsessed about it. I feel like if I don't click on something and I buy it, then I'll feel like terrible that I lost money, which is probably too stingy, but anyway. So we're trying to figure out how do we help the process of eating, buying food or ingredients for meals be more seamless, more convenient, more affordable, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's where our data science team comes in. We want to transform the process of having to eat and think what to eat today, this week, feed my kids, feed myself in a healthy manner. It can be a pain point. It can be complicated, it can be boring, it can be a drain. So we're trying to figure out how do we make this easier for people. And I'll tell a little about what we're doing there. We have huge amounts of data, as I mentioned, right? Item data, customer data, transaction data, location data, supplier data. It's massive. So first-party data, it's so important, it's so rich. We obviously have to be very careful, protect it. Privacy is a big issue for us. And we also have health and pharmacy data. So we also have to be conscious of all those limitations and all the care we have to have with our customers and the trust that they put in us. But that brings a huge opportunity for us. Not only focus on food, but also on health. And that's kind of where our strategy is going. That's why in the vision and the aspiration, it talked about bringing people together around the joys of food, but also inspiring and enabling well-being. We want to be able to help people if they want to be helped. Like figure out, hey, if I want to eat healthier, what type of food would be recommended for me? If I'm diabetic, like what type of food? If I have hypertension, low sodium or low carb or high protein. So we're trying to do that, and we have several algorithms trying to do that. Personalization is a big thing. I'm going to tell you guys a little what we did before we started working on the Gen AI stuff. We're working Gen AI stuff with Microsoft and OpenAI and their products, but also with Google. So we're kind of like taking we just started 6 months ago or 5 months ago. So I don't want to misrepresent, but we're very excited about the things we're trying to do. So personalization has always been big. We've been working on personalization for years, and it's very important because we want to make sure that we're providing offers to our customers that are relevant to them, that are convenient, that are affordable. We want to engage with our customers at the right time, with the right content, with the right channels, with the right offerings. And we have different models. Buy it again is a typical model where you basically have your cart, which is populated based on the learning that the algorithm has of your transactions. So if in my data, an algorithm can learn that I buy milk, a gallon of milk, 2% every month, probably if it's coming up to a month, I should be buying that. If I'm buying solely or mostly those products at Albertsons, Safeway, any of the brands that we have 20 different brands or banners. We also have personalized recommendations. So people like me, what are they buying? So recommendations of things that maybe don't buy, or things that maybe I'm buying, but like complements to that. We also have substitutions. So I'm sure you guys know, out of stock has been a huge problem for everyone. I couldn't get sriracha for so long, and I was like really struggling. It's still hard to get sometimes. But basically, everything was out of stock, or everything seemed to be out of stock. Everything was whack after COVID. And we were basically using models to predict out of stock and being able to offer substitutions to our customers if they wanted it. But then we realized that we're offering certain things as a substitution. They say, okay, if you don't have this, I'll select this. But we weren't using that same algorithm on those selections. So that was more frustrating for our customers because suddenly the substitution was out of stock too, and they were left with no product. So basically, we've been using a lot of machine learning, a lot of data, a lot of forecasting, supply chain, all over. A really interesting feature that customers have liked and it's created a lot of lift is a feature called Don't Forget to Add, which has to do with the first one in a way. The algorithm learns how you shop, the frequency of you shop. Obviously, if you're more loyal, if you have more transactions, there's more data on you and your household, the algorithm will be more precise in recommending or learning what this person's buying and the frequency. So sometimes what will happen is, I don't know if it happens to you guys, you'll go to the store, you have a list, you buy everything and you forget one thing. Then you have to go back, right? Or like your wife or husband gets mad or your kid gets mad. So it's a pain. So like this feature has actually been really helpful for online and app. And we just a big question we had was like, how do we start offering these interventions in store? 80% of our customers shop in brick and mortar in the stores. So how can you personalize? How can you use this intelligence in store? We just launched something called in-store mode, where you basically open the app and it can kind of like help you find where are the products, and that's a great opportunity to also push some of these recommendations. I'm just going to skip this, not important. What were we doing? We were doing some stuff, traditional machine learning as always, but then we started working on some deep learning stuff. We realized we had a ton of data, multidimensional, high transaction, a lot of features, and we started creating embeddings. We created a project called Customer DNA and Item DNA, which is basically how do we create embeddings, or how do we reduce the dimensionality of information into embeddings, into vectors, and start using this in a lot of our recommendations. So we did that. And this was kind of like helpful to start to find similarities between not only households, so maybe if a household just random, are they similar? If you suddenly categorize them as vegan, because based on what they buy, you can say this customer or this household is a probability of X vegan. Do they live in a certain area? Do they live in a certain neighborhood? Same for items. Where are they placed? What's the brand? What's the category? Same shelf, et cetera. So we started using this to provide more information into our recommendation systems, and we've seen some interesting uplift. So this is some of the stuff we've been doing around deep learning. Just move this quickly, it's not important. All the data, multidimensional, putting into, creating embeddings, throwing into a recommendation system where we can enhance with deep learning. Have score probabilities on like what people are gonna buy, what they're gonna actually accept as a substitution, et cetera. Now, the interesting part, what is generative AI? I'm sure you guys have heard it a million times, but basically traditional AI or traditional machine learning, even deep learning, it was a lot about classification, prediction, identification of certain patterns, right? There was a specific task that an algorithm became really good at, learning my consumption behavior. Generative AI basically is trained on much more data and can generate content, generate text, poems, songs, images, videos, code, etc. So on the right, some of the use cases I'm sure all of you guys have heard about. Interesting things have happened since November 30th when ChatGPT, OpenAI released ChatGPT. Not everyone, a lot of people that were not talking about AI started talking about AI. And it's been interesting. Everyone's been like, oh wow, AI is really going to overtake things and transform the world. And I think that is true. So Gen AI, an algorithm won a prize, an art prize. A chatbot passed the law exam, I forget what state. Code productivity of coders has increased tremendously in certain use cases. I think there's a big opportunity, thinking from the point of view of a societal and economic impact. I think a lot of people who have not had the chance and the opportunity to educate themselves at an undergrad level or more suddenly will be able to use AI tools like ChatGPT, like Midjourney, and this will be a huge boost for a lot of people because they suddenly will become very proficient in Excel or Oracle. So I think there's going to be a really interesting change in the labor market. For sure, there's going to be displacement. I think it would be a lie to say that not, but I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities created as well. So is this a historic moment, or is it an inflection point, or is it just a fad? It's definitely, I believe, a historic moment. Bill Gates in his Gates notes, I think it was 4 months ago, basically said, there's 2 things in my lifetime that I've seen that are going to transform the world completely. The first is the GUI, the graphical user interface, which he obviously leveraged tremendously with Windows. The second one is generative AI. And he goes into this conversation in this letter about what is AI, what is generative AI, why he thinks it's going to transform the world. I would highly recommend you guys read it. Andrew Ng, Stanford professor on AI, I'm fortunate to work for his VC and venture fund. He says that AI is a new electricity, and he makes the parallel between how the electricity changed the world and created so many new things. The same thing's going to happen with AI, and I think it's true. And Elon Musk and Reid Hoffman and so many people are talking about this. I was really, there's this discussion always about, is AI going to overrule the world? Will humans be at the mercy of AI? And there's different points of view there. Jeff Hinton, one of the modern fathers of AI who invented backpropagation, he basically resigned from Google, I think 6 months ago, 5 months ago. Not because he thought Google wasn't doing things right. He actually said he thought Google was doing things responsibly. But he said, I have a responsibility as one of the most known and most important people in AI to talk about the importance of us putting guardrails and thinking about and asking ourselves questions that as humanity we're not doing. And he says the following phrase 2 days after he resigns at an MIT conference. It's plausible that humanity is just a phase in the evolution of intelligence. So he says this. This is a guy who is very conservative, very calm. He's never before said anything about the risks of AI for humanity. But he says, what I'm seeing GPT-4 be able to do, it's a different type of intelligence, is pretty crazy. So that's another guy I recommend you guys read. Just Google MIT, Jeff Hinton, talk. You'll find the talk that I just mentioned. A lot of companies are using generative AI or jumping on it. It's pretty new, so a lot of people, a lot of organizations are exploring how to use it. We're one of them. Multiple potential use cases of Gen AI for grocery, so personalization, fresh, own brands, frontline, et cetera. One of them we're exploring several. One of them is just scanning recipes, importing recipes from the web, and then basically creating meal plans, and then deconstructing that into a cart, basically so you have your cart ready based on a recipe or a meal plan. Again, figuring out what to cook every day or a week, or if you have kids and if you want to live healthy, can be cumbersome, can be exhausting sometimes. So the question we're asking ourselves, how can we make this process of deciding what to eat, with what constraints, with what parameters, with what preferences, easier for our customers? So we're working on that. I should say a couple things, just leave you guys with 2 thoughts. Data is a true competitive advantage. AI is becoming a commodity. A lot of the Gen AI stuff is being developed by large tech companies or startups that have had a ton of money to basically acquire or rent GPUs and compute, which allows them to do Gen AI stuff. I think most companies are going to be consuming those algorithms, those AIs as a service, and they will train them on their own data. And their data is super powerful. It'll allow them to provide insights, provide generation of content that others don't. So proprietary data becomes extremely important and is golden. You guys know the Turing test, basically a test in the 50s, Alan Turing, to try to see if a computer actually achieved human intelligence. Eric von Jolson from MIT, and now he's at Stanford, basically says we are trapped. We're in the Turing trap. We're talking too much about AI as an imitation game, about how can AI make us faster, quicker, the things we do, more productive, less errors. That's okay, we should be thinking of that, but that can't be the only thing. We need to think about how can AI help us do things that we're not doing? How can we create new ways of working, of living, of organizing ourselves as a society? And he says, throughout history of humanity, big breakpoints in how the world worked and new things and the way humanity did things did not come because we did things quicker, faster, with less errors. It came because we did something different with technology. So that's what he wants people to do. And just to end, some work we're doing around the idea of large language models, text, spits out text. We have a lot of data. What about large retail consumption model? Could we train algorithms, models on retail consumption? And that's something that we're exploring with Stanford and Google. And that's it. Thank you very much for being here.